Hey there! Today we're gonna finalize our cannon shooter game by adding shooting mechanics, and we're gonna do it using brand new Unity visual scripting. So don't be afraid, no hard coding, no C#, only nice and neat visual scripting nodes. Okay, so we've created this visual scripting graph. Now let's think about how to make this cannon shoot. It's already moving, but it's not shooting. First of all, we need to create a point from where we're going to shoot. And to do that, let's first create a ball that this cannon will shoot. Let me right click here in this. I think I'm going to just make it an empty area. So 3D object sphere. Let's name it, I don't know, the ball. No problem. And now we're gonna just make it like this. Just make sure it's not stuck in the barrel and we'll have some problems with physics. Okay, let's just make sure we create a new material for this. Or we can just use can. I think the yellow one will be better, so I'm gonna just make this ball and make this one more like orangey, maybe more like flame type color. Yeah. So now we kind of shooting those balls from here. Maybe there's too far from it, so maybe a bit closer, like this. So we have this ball, and we know that this ball will be the thing that we're going to instantiate. So for this moment, as you can see, this ball is in the scene. It's something that not here. When we instantiate, we cannot instantiate something from here because these objects cannot be called from script sometimes, and it's not can be used from other scene, for example. So that's why we use prefabs. Let's first create new folder. Right click, create folder. Let's name it prefabs. Not pregabs, but prefabs. So now we have this folder prefabs, and if you just drag any object from here, prefab, as you can see now, it's turned out like this blue cube. This means that this is a prefab. So the prefab is something we can reuse over and over again, like this. And when we change any value here, it will change to all the generated cubes here, so which is also nice. So we have this ball prefab, and let us also let's just copy this position. So I'm gonna go to properties, there's a copy position. I'm gonna copy this position. We're gonna create this not as a child but as a separate object, so create empty spawn point, and now I'm gonna I think paste this position, and now as you can see, it's okay. And now if I'm going to drop it to the child, it will be normal. So we copied from this ball, and now we have the same position as the ball was placed. So this is this is empty spawn point, so it's not visible for anyone. It's just empty object that we're going to use it as a reference for our spawning. So we have a ball prefab here, and we have spawn point, and on this spawn point we're going to create a new script. Usually when we create scripts, we try to think about reusability of the script. Good developers never make a huge script, so we divide logic. So for now, this script is for moving, and this is a reusable script that you can use for anything. Maybe you can use it for car move or anything. So, and not all the cars are shooting. That's why we try to separate functions and logics with different scripts. So that's why I'm going to go to spawn point. I'm going to press add component. I'm going to add new script machine, and I'm going to create new script, and this will be cannon shoot. I'm going to just type it here, but not in the prefabs, but in vscripts. So cannon move and cannon shoot. I'm going to press edit graph, and make sure you select the spawn point because you will work with this. because Canon has a different script. Spawn point has different, so make sure you're in the spawn point, because we're gonna because spawn point will be the place where we're generating our balls, and the script will be on this object. So for the spawn point, as you remember, I said we always think about, do we need update, do we need start, and here we don't need this, so we can just delete both of them. So let's start clean. What we need here, I'm gonna shoot those balls by pressing on keyboard input on spacebar. So that's why this will be our initial event for the script. So right click, type on key, and you will see this first thing is on keyboard input. So this is what we're going to use for as a start event. And here there's a space, there's a bunch of other options, but we're going to use space. There's action, down, hold, up. It's kind of could be a bit, hold is absolutely self-explanatory, but down and up could be a bit misleading. So down, it's when you press on the button, and it only tracks when you pressed, and up when you released. So up what will not work when you press on the spacebar, it will work when you release it after press. For us, down is the best way to go. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna instantiate object, so we can now instantiate the object. So generating, it's usually type instantiate. So type instantiate, instant, and you will already see component and game object instantiate. We need game object instantiate, not a component. And we need this one, original position rotation. Okay. Why we can use this parent one? Because if you want to use parent, every time the cannon moves, the ball that was already shot will follow the parent. You don't want that. You want to shoot, the ball should move separately, so this one will work. So we're going to use this original position rotation. So I'm going to connect this to here, and original asks what I'm going to instantiate, so what you want me to instantiate. So let's press here, and in the assets folder you can already find the ball. So just make sure it's not ball material. As you can see, if you press here, you will see ball material, and this is a ball prefab. So make sure you're selecting prefab, not material. Ball, and you can see by the icon, it's like this blue. This one, it means that now position. So how we're gonna track the position, because it's not like a child motion, it's like we need to feed them a position. And because now the script is placed nicely here on the spawn point object, we will track the spawn point position. So right click here, add node, get position. You need this transform, get position. Okay, transform, get position, this one. So what will this thing do is just a tracker. It tracks position, this values on the object it was attached to. So in this case, it will always track the position of the spawn point. So we're going to just drag this here. So now we know the position. And for rotation, this asks rotation. So there's a one, it sounds pretty weird, quaternion. It's usually for rotation. When we rotate objects or do something with rotation, we use that quaternion. If you type get identity, ID, you will find this get identity quaternion, get identity. So let's go and check. Let's go and check. I'm going to switch to game view. I'm moving my here, and now as you can see, whenever this thing updates, balls updating as well. So now we have this normal tracking of our cannon. So yeah, as you can see, it's moving pretty nicely, but it's not shooting. Okay, so let's add force to our balls. To do this, we should go to our ball prefab and make sure we add rigid body, because if this prefab doesn't have rigid body, you cannot add force to it. So go to add component, type RIG, and now we have rigid body and we don't need to kind of do anything with this. Just type rigid body and that's it. Add rigid body and that's it. Okay, now let's go back and type add force, and there's a add force XYZ with the force mode here. So we're gonna just take this one. I'm gonna connect the green with green, and the rigid body, it will receive rigid body from this prefab because it requires rigid body. And yeah, and now we can define here what force we want to. So we don't need constant force, we need just short burst of the power. So that's why impulse is the best option for us in this case. So let's type 5 by z-axis and see, and let's see if it's shooting now. So now, yeah, this is good. I think this is not that powerful because, so as you can see right now, my scene view is kind of nicely placed, but my camera is weird. So we can there's a nice option to align scene view with the game view. You press on the main camera, game object, and there's align with view. Make sure you make it with the game with the camera, not with any other object, because it will align with view any object. First of all, let's deactivate the play mode because we're going to lose this. So game object, align with view, and now as you can see, our camera is having this value. And then we can just make a little tweak to it. So I think I'm going to just move it lower, maybe up the rotation like this, maybe make it a bit like this, bit closer maybe. Yeah. So now when I will test this, I can still see if what value should we make to make those balls reach the cans. So yeah, I'm gonna press play. So 5 was not enough. Let's make it 10. 10 still not enough. Let's make it 12. I think no matter how much we're gonna do it, it won't reach because it just shoots straight. So let's add some Y position here. 3 by Y. Whoa, that was too far, too up. Maybe I'm gonna make it 8 here, so it will be like, whoa, yeah, now it's working. So now it sticks to this one. Let's check this one. Yeah, it sticks to all of them. Great. So now we have this nice. It's not only it's reaching the aim, it also has this nice curvy motion. Great. So now we know we've tweaked our forces. So the only thing that is left is to add physics to our cans, because now it's like the fixed concrete structures that not moving from the ball. I think I'm gonna just fine tune my camera. I'll change this aspect to full HD. I'm gonna make a nice look image, like so I can see how I from the top. I think I like this one, but it's hard to find the perfect spot for this, but I like this. I think looks pretty nice. And it's pretty tricky because if camera will be from backside here, it will be pretty easy to play. If the camera, so imagine the camera is here, so it's pretty easy to play. So it will be pretty easy to play game. Left is left, right is right. But from this perspective, game immediately becomes a pretty. By the way, this perspective is nice. Let's do this one. I like this one. So go to main camera, game object line with view, and now let's fine tune this. Like this, maybe a bit. Let's change the skybox to solid color so it doesn't bother us too much. I don't know what color we'd like. Maybe this one, maybe this one. So camera is aligned. Let's just make sure the scans have rigid body. So you could go one by one, but we're gonna just select all of them. I press shift on my keyboard, select all of them. and press add component rigid body. That's it. And now our cans will receive rigid body physics to it, and now they're not like some heavy stuff, but a real, yeah, it's kind of disorienting. Left is right and right is left, and so this is kind of nice, yeah. And now we have it. So now we have this cannon shoot game, and it looks pretty funny.
So okay, now you know how to make cannon shooter game without writing a single line of code. I hope you had a lot of fun doing this, and if you did, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of interesting visual scripting content coming up.